TOS fans, Robin here, and it's deck reveal time again. Once again, I'm playing the Farstriders, and this week I will be playing against the Chosen Axes. Oh, this is more of a general deck. I tried not to keep that in mind, but I think sometimes it happens a little bit that I tailor it. It's not an out-and-out go and kill the Chosen Axes deck, but I've kept it in mind. For example, I've kept Alone in the Darkness in there because there's only 7 models on the table. It seems like there's a reasonable chance of scoring it. Okay, and before I start, I'll remind you that it is the faction fraction rules we're playing by this week, which means a third of my objectives need to be faction specific, and half of my power cards, half each of the deploys and upgrades in an ideal world are faction specific. And that's what I've done. So I've got just 20 power cards today, and 5 of each are Farstrider specific cards. My objective deck then, the first card is Behead the Beast. This is a Farstrider card which they get blind glory if they take out an enemy leader. It could be tough against Fuel, but I think it's worth having in there anyway. Fuel is likely to get stuck in, so there's a reasonable chance he might die. Then the next card, Eternal Supremacy, is I'm never sure about these Supremacy cards for the Farstriders, but with it being faction fraction, I thought this was worth putting in there, and also because it's the Chosen Axes, there's a good chance of scoring it, because first round Pete will be going for objectives, and maybe if I get the 3 in my half, then maybe I can nick one. Maybe nick this if it comes out, but we'll see. Lightning Advance basically is getting all my team in the opposing half. We'll go, well, I haven't actually got Conquest in this deck. Would go Conquest, but it's not there. We'll have to see what happens, whether I score that one. Sigmar's Finest. This is a bit of a belly up card. I've got to be outnumbered 3-1 in order to score this, but if I do lose 2 Farstriders, then there is a reasonable chance I could score it if things haven't gone as well as I might like. And Advancing Strike. Pete moves slow. I can shoot from distance. I hope I might be able to score Advancing Strike in this battle. Alone in the Darkness, one of my favourite cards, is in here as usual. And then Change of Tactics. I think this is a good card for the Farstriders, especially as they have it deploy Warning Cry, which enables you to put somebody on guard and then immediately charge with them to get the glory. I think that's a good card for the Farstriders. Chosen Champion. Whenever I've played Farstriders and not had this in my deck, I've managed to get 3 upgrades onto one of them and then said I should really put Chosen Champion in. So I imagine it is in the deck this time. I imagine that I won't get 3 upgrades on a single Farstrider. We'll see. Escalation is in there because it's a good card. Master of War I quite like for the Farstriders. Ploymaster, again, I always I'm an R about Ploymaster, but I think it's worth having in there this time. Hopefully I can get my ploys out. And Precise Use of Force, I think, is a good card for the Farstriders. They've got a number of damage options to score it one way or another. And then moving on to the power cards, starting with the ploys, I have Firm Footing. Firm Footing, again, I'm going to be trying to get on some objectives in the game, so I think Pete used this to great effect in another game against me, so I'm going to try and do the same, basically an extra defense dice, which is pretty handy for those Farstriders. Lightning Blow is +1 damage on the first attack action. Okay, it is a risk because you may miss, but it is +1 damage, which does mean you're potentially firing off 2 for your archery shots, and then if you can get in trap as well, that starts to get pretty tasty. Patient Defense basically is a good card. It's an extra +1 defense for somebody targeted by an attack action, which is pretty good. Ranger's Advance, I quite like Ranger's Advance. It does have its limitations because you do have to move 2. Sometimes you don't want to move 2, but you can move 2 Farstriders and move them up 1 hex. Warning Cry, as I said in the objectives thing, is really good because you can put a friendly fighter on guard. Great Concussion. I think if you're playing Alone in the Darkness, you have to run Great Concussion, and if you're playing Chosen Axes, doubly more so, because you can move everybody off their objectives. I'm fully expecting Pete will be running that too, so it could be interesting. Hidden Paths, I think, is a great card for the Farstriders. You've got to get in your opponent's half to get inspired, so you can nip over at the end of round 4 and get a free inspiration, hopefully, and then hopefully not die in the meantime. Ready for Action. We do like a bit of Ready for Action here at Agents of Sigmar, and that's in here again. I think it's a great card to have for any deck really. And then we've got Trap. and because it's good with the, well, either way it's an extra +1 damage if you do push somebody back, which is good. It's good with the range of capabilities of the Farstriders, and also I've been learning as we go, the Farstriders are still pretty tasty in combat, so if you do get in amongst it and you can fight the and I'm fighting hand to hand, then pushing back the chosen axes, that extra damage could be all important, which is why I've also included Twist the Knife. For some reason I played it wrong when I played with Scritch. For some reason I forgot he was range 2 and it didn't work. I have no such problems with remembering that it doesn't work on the range attack, so it should be right for the Farstriders, because I think most of the rest of their attacks are all 1. So they're my ploys. And my upgrades, I've got Flashing HANDAXE, which has got Cleave for Farstrider. I think I'm going to be more combat orientated in this game, so that's in there because Cleave now in the sort of new meta, I think Cleave is much better than it used to be. I used to not worry about Cleave. Now it's good against most warbands, not all. Furious Blow, it's an Eagle Eye specific card. But if he's failed, he cannot be driven back and he can make an attack action. Now that could be handy, particularly early on in the game if I can get it on him. Maybe not early in the game because it's an upgrade, obviously. But you know, if there are any failed attacks, Eagle Eye can attack back, which is pretty ferocious. Lone Warrior, the Farstrider equivalent of Helpful Whiskers, which I think is pretty useful. And then Sharp Eyes. Sharp Eyes for Eagle Eye. Gives him Cleave again, so all these Cleaves kind of come in handy, I hope. Swift Stride +2 move. I have got Lightning Advance in there. I have got Hidden Path, so I might want to get somebody back to my half. I think Swift Stride could be useful. So they're all the specific ones. And then Awakened Weapon. I do like Awakened Weapon for the Farstriders. It's good in hand to hand. It's great for their range attacks. Gives them much better chances of hitting. Or even getting crits if you're using Farstrider. Great Fortitude and great Strength. Excellent cards for the Farstriders, particularly Fortitude, because you've only got 3 men, so you want to try and keep them alive. Helpful Whiskers. Helpful Whiskers is a good card. Those Farstriders are going to be operating alone, and I think so. I've basically got a Lone Warrior and Helpful Whispers in there, and I think that will be useful. And then finally, Tethered Spirit as a good card for the Farstriders. I'm not going all out for Conquest, so I put this in as opposed to the just Soul Trap, which stops them from being taken out of action. This one I can actually move them back into my half, which I think may prove useful. Time will tell. So that's the deck. I hope you like it. I'm going to be going a little bit more heavy hitting in this game than I have done in the past. I've tried to run the Farstriders in the past, shooting from distance. I don't think that's going to work against the Chosen Axes. They're a bit tougher. So there's a lot of repeat damage you need to do for that. So I'm going to be trying to get in there. So I'm basically going to be trying to inspire in the first turn, much like Pete will be, and then go up against him toe to toe in the subsequent turns. Be interesting to see how it goes. So until that match, enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you soon. Bye.